I kind of backed into teaching. I didn't seek it. It came after me, if you will. I kept getting invited to things, and I guess things went so well, they said, can you come back and do another project? So in reality, it's kind of a parallel career for me. And I think art and teaching kind of go hand in. I think it's a very nice way to share what you know and pass certain things along. But it's also to see the excitement on people's face, particularly kids. To see that aha moment or that light bulb go off and they get it and they're so thrilled about their work. And now, over the decades, I've been able to go through a lot of schools in Ontario and create massive works of art. Like I'm currently in the middle of a project that was working with close to about 450 kids in grade 6 and grade 8, and we're working on a huge mural in a stairwell. And that's just one of many. And I think, like anything, if you have certain abilities and you're willing and able to share with your community and to build, in this case, I believe, support for young artists, to get it in their heads that you can be an artist and a parent. You can be an artist and a lawyer. You can be an artist and a filmmaker. You don't have to stop your art in order to get the job. Because a lot of times it's art that's feeding their passions or making them feel good about themselves. How many people end up retiring and now they discover they like art, or now they want to become a musician, or now they want to, whatever that is. I say you don't have to give anything up. Continue it throughout your life. A lot of times students at about age 10, 11, they make this decision. I've seen it. I've spoken to people. I've experienced it over the decades. They say, oh, I'm not a talent. I can't draw. I can't paint. And I actually say to them, I said, well, what if I can show you that that's actually not true? That you just decided at about age 10 to stop doing this. I said, the only difference between you and me, this is an adult I'm speaking to, I said, you just stopped at age 10. I said, where the difference is I continued on. If you spend that much time at something, you'll get there. But it doesn't have to be an inordinate amount of time. There are certain things that you can train somebody within a week to get them up to a pretty proficient level. But I like working with kids because they are on an exploratory mission. And everything's open for possibility and discussion. Everything's good. And when you help kids and create a skill set and give them that idea that they have mastery over this, it doesn't matter what the art is. They've got that in their mind and they're going for it. And as a matter of fact, the camp that we've run, this is going to the 26th season this summer. I've had kids come to my studio. So they're coming to a real studio. This is not like a daycare center. This is the real deal. And I know of 6, 7 individuals who've graduated OCA, and they're on their way to a fine art career. Not that I'm necessarily encouraging that per se, but they've run with it based on certain ideas they've had starting in their youth. And I know people are going to change careers, and that's okay. But I think to embody art in your life, it gives you a much broader ability to enjoy the world and your time on this earth without feeling you're stuck somewhere. There's always a way to do something creative. And as I said, it's not just visual arts. It could be writing, it could be music, it could be filmmaking. I mean, even I'm going to stretch my boundaries. I'm actually looking in to understand technology a little better. I want to start making light sculptures. I want to learn how to create pieces that actually reflect off buildings so that you work at night so that these pieces come alive. But I don't have a technological basis for that. But there's enough good people and enough good information and technology out there that's going to help me come up with what I envision. And I think that's the key. You've got to start with an idea. You have to have an imagination in which you want to investigate and go for it. And isn't everything built on that? One of the things I like to say to kids is, start paying attention and use your imagination. there are going to be dark moments, dark times where you question, and I went through that phase. I actually was on, a bunch of years ago, I thought, what's the point? It's such a darn struggle sometimes, and the work wasn't selling, or why am I bothering, or this has just become like a mountain at times. But I think if you do something every day connected to the arts, if you're going to even write about it, or if you do sketches every day, or take some pictures, or record your voice and talk about what was successful. There's some good material out there. There's enough good writers about how to process yourself in getting past these hurdles. And I think that if you're not being fed by your own work, go outside of yourself then. Stop doing what you're doing, give yourself a break, and do something completely different. Go take dance classes, go and learn a musical instrument, start writing. Do something you're uncomfortable with, because I think it starts to give you some healthy distance from what you are, in a way, telescopically just focusing on a little dot, and the whole universe is around you. It's better to move away from it, give yourself a break, and then come back to it. And it's like even painting. If there's a painting that's just not working, I put it away for a while. I'll leave it for upwards of sometimes a couple of weeks, and then you come back and you got fresh eyes. You've got that opportunity to rethink something. And the point is, it's a journey anyways, and you're not always going to win the race that you've predicted. If nothing else, what I've found is life is a journey, and you might have a goal, but in order to get the goal, it's not a straight arrow. You're going to have to meander, and you're going to get caught in eddies, and you're going to get down sinkholes, and you're going to come back up on a hill, and you're going to be pushed and forced to go over it in a direction you hadn't anticipated. But sometimes those become the more interesting and profound life changes that give you that opportunity for growth. And sometimes growth is not comfortable because we're in our comfort zone, right? And you asked me earlier about taking risks. Well, I think as I've gotten older, I realized things aren't as risky as people imagine them to be. It's riskier not to take those chances on yourself, because then you become stale, then you become stuck, you're in a groove. And that actually can bring its own dark problems. So the other thing is physically move, do some exercise. I find that when I take a long walk, or I go to the back of my property, I like going with my husband, we check things out. Just having that fresh air helps to clear the cobwebs. But the long term is, give yourself the time and the opportunity to step away from what that problem is. Because it becomes almost a chemical and an emotional reaction to something that's so immediate that when you calm down, or you even have a conversation with somebody else about it, it gives you another perspective. And I think we're always trying to find something that'll make us feel better and give us relief. And when we do find that, that starts that whole cascade of new possibilities. Art, to me, is something that you live every day. And it's not just the work you produce, it's the things you think, the things you feel, the things you imagine and dream about. And to me, it's a very mystical experience. And particularly at this stage in my life, and also in my work, it has great gravitas to me to inquire, in a sense, about the unknown universe. But art creates the language in which you can express those things. And I know, yes, that's something understood by most, but to believe in yourself that you can tap into who you are to express that language in my own particular way is the thing that excites me. So each day is a new beginning for me. And I actually wake up almost every day with an excited feeling about what's the day going to bring. And the art becomes an aspect or an expression of those ideas, feelings, senses, combined experiences. So to me, a day is not successful unless it has some aspect of art connected to it. So my motto is, what am I going to do today in relationship to art, or making art, reading about art, watching something, going to a gallery, speaking with fellow artists, mapping something out, even carrying with me a little notebook. I keep it in my purse. If I come up with an idea, I've done something that becomes a contribution to who I'm being and how I can then at some point express it with that gathered information. So for me, art is a life. It really is a life immersed in the discovery of what that means and how I then will produce something. I'm a visual artist, so to me that's of tremendous value. But equally so, I'm inspired by other artists, writers, dancers, musicians, people who even teach it. I'm always impressed at, there's always something new to add to this sea or ocean of knowledge and experience that I have, and that at some point it will sort of come back out of that huge body as something specific to how I want to say something, visually express it in paint or in materials to make a sculpture or printmaking or glasswork or fabric. Whatever that means, I'm being aware of all of those fine elements that on a subtle and a gross level give me nourishment or food for being able to develop those ideas.